Hello, we're here on Unzipped. You know me, your host Hector, and I'm here with Gary. And today we're gonna have a more serious conversation. And normally you guys see me laughing and hee hee ha ha.
Oh, we can still do a hee hee ha ha.
I mean, I don't want to laugh about sexual assault though.
Well, I mean, there's a little hee hee. Well, some people got hee hee ha ha's up in there.
But we're actually gonna, with all the things going on right now, we're gonna broach the subject of sexual harassment. But I really don't want to call it sexual harassment. I would rather call it, I guess, unwanted sexual advances.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of want to make it a little bit more specific to kind of like the gay community, because I feel like what's going on right now, it's a lot of females accusing men of being inappropriate in the workplace and all that stuff. And I feel that is not really addressed what goes on, at least like in the gay scene, when it comes to like when you're at parties or in a club and stuff like that. So how do you feel about the subject?
That's an interesting, I guess, like, topic. I guess, like, for me, because unwanted sexual advances come in so many different ways, shapes, and forms. Because it's like, bitch, I don't want this dick pic right now. Like, please don't send this to me. Like, that is an unwanted sexual advance. You know what I'm saying?
Don't slide in my DMs with a dick pic that I didn't ask for.
Right. Like, girl, do I know you? What is your first name? Like, and it's just dick aplenty. But no, like, I feel as though with the topic, it's really important to discuss, because I also think that a lot of gay men don't even know what sexual, I guess, like, those sexual advances look like, because certain things have become so normalized within our community. So, I don't know. It's something that is very huge to dive into, but I'm excited to talk about it. Right, we here. We about to talk about it.
Like, at least for me, I feel like you said, I feel like people don't know where those lines are drawn, because again, we don't always have safe places to interact with one another, and I feel like normally it's always at like a gay bar or like at a club and things of that nature. And then, you know, alcohol comes into play, and depending on everyone's different levels of intoxication, you always have that one person who's kind of like, you maybe walk, like, for example, it's happened to me. I've been walking to the bathroom, and then next thing you know, I have a hand on my ass. I'm like, wait, but I don't even know you.
Right.
Like, why are you touching me? And then, you know, like I said again, people will always say, well, if the person's cute, no, like, regardless of how you look, it's not okay, because at the end of the day, like, you can be fine as wine, and I still may not want you touching me in that moment in time.
Right. But I also think that was something that you said about just, like, how alcohol can definitely play a part in it. Like, so I don't drink anymore. I put that away maybe, like, a year and a half ago. Long story, but bitches just don't need to drink anymore.
That's why there's no unzipped cocktails today.
It's an unzipped ginger ale. Hey,
it's
girl.
just water.
Come through. But no, like, I also think that liquor plays a part in that, because let's say you are in the bathroom and that happens, you got a couple of drinks in your system, you might be like, oh, like, this feels nice. But when you come back to it, like, maybe, like, later on, like, that's still unacceptable, because people shouldn't be going out of their way to put their hands on you, especially if they don't know you like that. And for me, like, if I sober up and I'm a regular-ass person, like, I'm not gonna think that that's cute that you just came and tapped me on my cheeks, like, girl, back up.
Exactly,
like,
touch me not.
Right. And I also watch a lot of Law and Order SVU, and I know that is, girl, that is assault. Like, do not touch me. And if we was somewhere else, I could be like, bitch, back up. Because Olivia told me.
Olivia told me.
That's what Olivia told me. Thanks, girl. You better come through, Mariska.
Hello. Like, no, we don't play those games. But no, but like, yeah, because I feel like, and the reason why it touches, like, at least a note with me is because, especially, like, I feel I've always had my worst cases of unwanted sexual advances, especially, like, around, like, pride time. Like, I feel like that's when, like, because, again, like, I'm an adult, and, like, at least for me, if I'm walking to the bathroom and someone touches my butt, like, I guess I'm so desensitized to it now that I'm not gonna sit here and fight with you and argue and give you a back and forth. You know, I might look back at you and side-eye you, like...
Yeah.
And I'll keep it moving. But I feel like sometimes there's certain things that just cross the line. Like, for me, like, for example, talking from personal experience, like, there have been times where I've had hands, like, going inside of my pants, grabbing things that don't need to be grabbed in that moment in time. It's kind of like, what makes you feel that it's okay to go up to a stranger and put your hands down their pants without a proper introduction, nothing? Like, I mean, even if you introduced yourself and said, hi, my name is Bill, and then said, whoop, I'm going to still look at you like, wait.
You got your hands somewhere that they don't need to be.
Like, why are you here?
Well, I think about it as how it has been publicized to us as gay men as time has gone on. You know what I'm saying? And I also think about the stereotype of how men are hypersexual beings just in general.
Yeah.
So when you put two men together, it's just like, oh, it's probably something that's going to be okay because you know that that's how we roll. And everybody doesn't roll like that. And I think that that's what the problem is. People automatically assume because of this space and because of just like, this is what our community may publicize, that everybody can do that. And it's just like, no, like people don't understand that boundaries are real. And they also don't know like what those kinds of advances or those kinds of like situations can trigger for people. Because I'd be good and goddamn if somebody don't get punched just because it's just like you in the wrong place at the wrong time. You touch the wrong motherfucker, like, you know?
Listen, I've had times where, you know, I've been in the club and I've gotten touched the wrong way and I'm in a bad mood and I've already had 3-4 drinks and I'm ready to pop.
Right.
And then every time you come by me, I'm ready to fight you.
Right. But then it's also like it's not okay when it's just like, because you said you become desensitized to it in a sense. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it's not okay that has to also kind of like be part of it. It's like, do I really think that this is worth my time right now to stop and slap your bitch ass? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
do I want to catch a case today?
Right. Because, girl, no cases for me no more.
No.
None of that.
No,
so,
no.
it's
I
just
got
like,
fired.
no, right, girl. I got a real job and a real salary. Can I let that go?
We're career ladies today.
Right. Thank you. You know, always got to be on the move. But no, I honestly think that because of what has been, I guess, just like, and this is just from personal experience, what I've seen as far as just like how men are always like coming at each other in the club, coming at each other on TV and stuff like that. And it's just like all of those things that have kind of like created this story, this narrative of what men having interactions with each other that are interested in men should look like. I think because of that, and then also I hate to say that it may be just like, it's not just a simply New York thing, but I also think because of just like my experiences here compared to other places that I've lived. I'm from Atlanta, so you know Atlanta is just like real bold and
like,
bold and beautiful, but bold and bitch. Like it's more like bold and bitch. Like they be doing the most. But I also feel like just like depending on where you are, you know what I'm saying?
Because it just brought a flashback of when I was in Pride and I definitely saw some things. I definitely saw some things I was just like,
right.
But I mean, like I said, you see it everywhere, but it definitely caught me off guard. Cause it wasn't warm enough for what I was seeing. Like, no, I definitely, like, I'm talking about, like, I saw some shorts, and it was ass cheeks coming out the top, and at the bottom, I was like, so maybe these shorts aren't your size? But it was just concerning to me because it was definitely, like, 60, maybe 70-degree weather, and you're out here, like, butt-ass naked.
And it's like, and then this is another question, like, are you wanting those types of advances on you? And it's just like, based on that, and that's not necessarily true. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Some people do, some people don't. And it's just like, because I dress like this doesn't make it seem as though it's okay for you to come and touch me. You know what I'm saying?
No, you can wear whatever you want. Like, I always said this, I could be in a thong. That does not mean it's okay for you to come over and jiggle my cheeks.
Right.
Like, no, like, I'm not, no, that's not what I'm here for.
Because, bitch, you'll get a backhand real quick.
and then I'll jiggle my own cheeks.
Right. Be like, that was for me. Thank you, because they're mine, honey.
Right? No, I can't.
It's too much. No, but I also, it really is. And it's just like, I think that, personally for me, like, over time, I think that just, like, unwanted sexual advances have developed. It's like, you know, maybe just, like, that simple, you know, like, ass touch. Maybe it's just, like, that reaching in the pants. Maybe it's just, like, you getting caught up in the wrong place, like, at the wrong time and not necessarily knowing how to respond to the situation. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of men go through that, don't maybe know what's going on in the moment and just respond how they feel is going to, like, keep them most safe. And then maybe sometimes it's just like they're really ready to just.
If they're worrying about their safety, then you need to not be touching strangers because that'll get you clocked.
Some people, like, okay, so I'm gonna give it to you like this. This will get you clocked, but everybody ain't ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't got hands. So it's just like, some people are just a little bit more timid when it comes to stuff like that.
That's true.
And then after the fact, you never know what kind of effect that has on that person. So it's just like, you have to be very conscious of how you're interacting with one another. I think especially like within the gay community, because we tend to, like, I'm not saying everyone, and I don't like to make overgeneralizations.
It's a general you, but it doesn't mean it's specifically you. You know,
unless it, you know, because hit dog shall holler. So if you know you feel a little something, hello, roof, bitch. But like, if that's not your, like, if you're not in a space where you feel as though you know people enough to be like all on top of them, then you should really just like consider how you are interacting with other folks.
And listen, I'm married to Christ.
Yes.
And I have a very jealous husband. So life will come and snatch you for doing me wrong.
Okay.
No, but I don't know, like I said, like I mean, growing up, I grew up in a very like, I guess, very sheltered. So when I came out and I was like part of the scene and I was out and about, it just kind of caught me all at once. So like I would watch shows like Queer as Folk. So to me, like they've on these shows, I feel like they portray a certain gay character and then people just expect that to be the norm. So for me, like I feel like some people feel like it's okay to go out to these places and it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna touch upon you. Like that's their way of flirting and letting you know that they want you. And it's kind of like, you're kind of making me feel like a $2 whore because you're assuming that I'm okay with you touching me like this and that I'm used to this kind of interaction. No, like introduce yourself. Like at the end of the day, just because we're all gay or because you feel that this portrayal is what it is in the scene doesn't mean that stops you from still being a human being and you being able to interact in a proper manner. Like introduce yourself. You want to buy me a drink at the bar? Buy me a drink at the bar. And if you don't, you don't. But carry that conversation.
Right.
Because you don't know if I'm there with someone. You don't know what your inappropriate touch can now lead down the line and have consequences that you don't even see. Like, for example, like you can touch me inappropriately and I'm there with my boyfriend. And maybe my boyfriend won't even say nothing to you. But then now I got to go home and deal with the bullshit. Like, oh, you know him. Like, you don't know what is going on in my life to make it, like, for you to take it upon yourself to do that. And then you don't know what the consequences of those actions are because maybe you may not suffer those consequences, but the person who just went through that experience might be facing consequences from your poor choices.
Exactly. And I also think that a lot of people don't know, because I'm using my own personal experiences, just like growing up, and it's just like, especially men of color, sometimes that coming out experience is very traumatic for them, or just, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like any kind of love that they can receive, they deem as acceptable. And I feel like maybe that is part of the reason why sometimes sexual advances are not necessarily looked at as sexual advances. They're more looked at as like, oh, this man is interested in me. And sometimes, can I say, I'm about to. Niggas just like to do whatever the fuck they want. I just had to make sure for the audience, I didn't want to offend nobody. So if I offended you, my bad. It wasn't on purpose, but niggas like to just do whatever they want. And I think, I look at it like, okay, I grew up in situations where men would come and they would like talk to me, and I also didn't grow up with like having like parents that actually accepted who I was 100%. So it was like if somebody was showing me interest, like, oh, maybe this is just like an opportunity for something to like pop off. That was, me when I was younger. So it was like in that, I guess like that mindset of just like accepting whatever will come your way, because it's just like, oh, okay, this is cute. Like somebody really actually enjoys me for who I am 100%, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? Because of maybe past traumatic experiences. That can kind of like shape how people respond to those kind of interactions.
That's true.
And it's just like, I don't think a lot of the time everyone understands how to receive love, or everyone understands how to like basically like approach someone in a way that's going to please into them. You know what I mean? True. Everybody's love language is different, and maybe my love language is not physical touch. Maybe it's just like talk to me and have a deep conversation with me. And that's the way that you get to know me. And I'm not a cheap $2 whore, so please don't put your hands on me in any kind of way, because bitch, like, you can get it.
And I also feel that a lot of times, even the people that we associate with ourselves, like, the ones that we call friends, or even the ones that we're like close to, also play a role in that desensitizing of those actions, just because there'll be like, there's always that friend who you may complain to, like, oh my god, like someone just touched me. They'll be like, oh, it's fine, like, it's okay. Like,
it's because you cute, girl.
Exactly. Like, and it's like,
but it's not.
No,
right.
I don't. That doesn't. That doesn't excuse it. Like, I could, like I said, like again, it's just I don't feel that levels of attractiveness make it okay for things to happen. Like, it is, if you're ugly, if you're cute, in the general sense of like, someone else's views, because, someone's always cute to someone else.
Right.
There's never anyone that's, you know,
right.
so ugly that they're gonna be by themselves.
Right.
So
that's a word for one of y'all out there. Y'all ain't ugly. Somebody gonna love you.
Somebody will love you. But it's just, you know, I just feel like it's not okay, and I feel like it's a conversation that should be had within our community, because I feel like it's normalized to the point where literally like it can happen anywhere, anytime, and then there's no consequences for it. And that's not to say that I feel like there should be consequences.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying, listen, hey, next time you get groped, punch the nigga in the throat.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Those type of charges.
Yeah, but like, you know what I'm saying? But it's just kind of like, just keep that in mind. Like, if you're going out, if you're gonna go have fun, if you're gonna get drunk, and if you're gonna, you know, be in these situations, just, you know, just have that courtesy. Just don't be that person who's out here, you know, leading someone by their penis that doesn't even own you. Like, there should be no reasons why your hands are in their pants and you're touching things that shouldn't be done. And I mean, like, again, like, it could be any one of us. It could be, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I don't remember every time I've been drunk, so I don't know what I've done while I've been under the influence. So, you know, so listen, so if you're out there and I inappropriately touched you while I was drunk, I apologize.
My bad.
Which I think I've ever did.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've ever been in that situation where I've inappropriately touched a random stranger. So I think, you know, all my sexual advances have been warranted.
Right.
I feel like I've been warranted and wanted and expected.
Right, exactly. And that's what matters when it's something that's wanted, because it's just like, you know, there are definitely cues that you can cue into. Like, oh, okay, like, this isn't a bad thing. And it's just like, also, like, everybody's level of comfortability around touch is different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can touch me on my shoulder and that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's just like, if you go in other places, maybe that place is not okay. I mean, I can't lie and say that I don't like being slapped on my ass. Like, that's just a thing. But it's just like, if I don't know you like that and I'm not really feeling you like that, like, then maybe you need to back up. And I also think, like I said, alcohol, just like any kind of vice, can definitely play a role in that, because that kind of like takes you out of like yourself. And I'm not saying that makes it okay or you know what I'm saying. I think it's just more about like being conscious, be more conscious of those kind of things.
And fill out the vibe. Like I said, like everything is body language, and then there's people who speak with their bodies, there's people who speak with their words, and I feel like if you're gauging the situation, and again, like this comes into play, the fact that you shouldn't be touching strangers. I mean, if you've had the conversation and we're talking back and forth, and my body language is, you know, giving you signs or whatever the case may be, and you want to, like, let's say you go in for a kiss and then that kiss leads to something else, then clearly that's something wanted. You know, but then there's also people, you know, I'm not going to mention any names, but like I said again, I always try to come from a personal place. I like to speak on things that I haven't personally experienced. Like, I've gone out with my friends, and like in this situation, like this, I was literally just walked into the bar. I wasn't in the bar for not even 5 minutes. I was literally walking from one end to the other to kind of find a spot to kind of like order my drink, and a person literally grabbed my face and made out with me, and then, like 10 minutes later, finds me and then apologizes to me and goes, "Oh no, it's just that when I get drunk and I see really cute guys, I just like to kiss them."
Thanks, girl, but what?
Like, in my mind, I was like, thank you for the apology, because I mean that obviously, like, you know that what you did wasn't right, but at the same time, your apology kind of you gave me a reason for, like, so this is a repetitive behavior, a repetitive behavior. So it's kind of like, so you do this all the time to just random strangers, and you're still here, you're still among us. What?
Yeah, maybe they just haven't kissed the wrong person, like, on the wrong day.
I don't understand that. Like, in my mind, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I can definitely see, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, speaking from just like my drunken past. I definitely my drunken past. Oh yeah, because girl, there is one. No, if I see a fine ass nigga and I'm definitely like, you know, really in my bag, like a couple of drinks in back in the day, like I'd be like, oh, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like, try to flirt with them a little too hard. You know what I'm saying? Like with the hands and stuff like that, because I am a touchy person.
Yeah.
But it's also just like, I think about it on the other side and I'm like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? Like, I honestly have woken up, like, some days, like, after the fact being like, bitch, you were a hot mess. Like, and that's unacceptable because you don't know what, like, if that was okay. And I also feel like a lot of the times, like, that shows your type of character.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to be misrepresented in character based off of just like those kind of like weird moments. And I also feel like there are times where it happens when, you know, you aren't drunk, like you're completely sober, and people don't know how to take like those cues. They think that it's okay. And I just hate that it seems as though those kind of like advances are just like, because let me kick it to you like this, like people be up on Jack'd and people be up on Grindr, and it's just like you open up those doors, you open up those avenues when, I'm not saying that that's okay, but like people automatically assume, oh, because I'm on here, like this is what you on here for, like I'm trying to get at you, da-da-da-da, and then you trying to hang out with them perhaps, and then they think it's a completely different situation than what it is, and I'm like, baby girl, like this is not what I said when I was writing you, which is why I've not had Jack'd or Grindr in for a year, because it's just like, girl, you're trying it, and you need to stop, you know what I mean? And I really feel like people need to take a step back and really assess, like, is that how I would want to be approached if I was in the right state of mind? And also just like, I don't know, everybody's level of comfortability is different.
I also feel that speaks to kind of your character. Like I feel like at the end of the day, when you do things that are normal to you, you never wake up the next day and feel bad about it. So the fact that, like, for example, let's say, you know, you just became one of the aggressor as opposed to kind of like the victim. And you wake up the next day and you feel bad about it, and you're kind of like, and it's like, and you hear the little voice of your conscience like kind of just eating at you, then that lets you know that clearly this isn't the norm for you, and this isn't something that you do all the time. So, like I said, listen, when you're drunk, inhibitions go out the window, and like I said again, I feel like there's certain touches that are okay, like in the sense, and when I say okay, are like, for example, if I'm talking to you but I'm flirting, and you know, it's like, oh hi, the little lean in, the little touch on the shoulder, that's a common body area. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, in the sense of like, it's, in the general sense of things, it's kind of like, okay, like it's accepted, but at the same time, it's like, you know, like maybe the person just isn't a touchy person and just don't like to be touched at all. So at the end of the day, you know, just depending on the person, just, it is what it is, but what I'm trying to say is basically, is that you just have to gauge the situation and gauge kind of how the person is, and you yourself just kind of, you know, make better choices. Make better choices.
Make better choices.
Make better choices and assess the situation, and assess the situations correctly.
No, definitely. And it's just like, I find it very interesting, like we're at this time in, I guess like the world where there are a lot of people that are coming out in regards to just like their versions of sexual assault or unwanted sexual advances in so many different communities. And I wonder how or why. I know that there are people that are out there that do discuss these things, but why are these conversations between same-sex couples not happening as often as they should be? Exactly. You know what I mean? Because it's just like there are lots of situations that happen that I think that people are like either ashamed of or don't necessarily know how to process, that affects how or why, like how they even interact with people like past that. You know what I'm saying? Because like for me, like I think because of the experiences in my life that have led up to like where I am right now, like I know that certain touches or just like certain ways, I get a vibe. I'm like, and bitch, your vibe is nasty. Like, I don't want you touching me.
Bitch,
and it's
your
just
vibe
like, cause sometimes that's what it's just like. Aura is on, and it's, you know what I'm saying?
Or on yuck.
Yeah, okay, or on yuck as fuck. And it's just like, I don't want your hands on me, and I don't really want you around me.
Yeah.
But I think that it took me, you know, a couple of years to kind of figure out like what is okay, what is not, and then it's also just like a level of like people really just like being in touch with themselves and just like knowing like what's okay for them. And it's just like holding on to that. I also feel like sometimes people, like I said, they do get a little worried because they don't want to come off as unapproachable, because you know everybody hates being called like bitchy or unapproachable or da-da-da. Some people live for, you know, being that bitch, but everybody doesn't always want to come off like that. So it's just like this really like you have to be very balanced.
It's a balancing act, because I feel like in the like, and it always goes back to the, like I said again, it's the normalizing and the desensitization of it. It's kind of like you're in the mix, and maybe you're just not the type of person who likes to be touched, and then if you say, oh well, don't do this, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, your friend is stank, oh my god, your friend thinks he's bougie, or oh my god, your friend thinks he's all that. No, it's just maybe that person just doesn't like to be touched. It could just be that simple. But then it's like, it's crazy because on that same subject, like I've encountered people who don't like to be touched, but are also very touchy-feely themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, I've encountered people who'll be like, oh, don't touch my face. But they'll be the first ones to be like, oh my God, I love your skin, like your haircut. And it's like, kind of like, pause. Didn't you just tell me not to touch your face? So why are you touching mine?
Right. Like, how does that make that okay? You got right. Like, the exchange has to be
like, if you have your boundaries, then I'm expecting your boundaries to be all around. Like, if you don't want people touching you, then don't be going around touching fucking people.
Okay. And I don't think that people understand that. Like, what you may feel as though, like, okay, like, this is how I am. This is, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is how I roll. Like, you have to be able to hold that same standard when you out with other folks. And a lot of folks don't know how to do that. And it's just like, bitch, learn yourself. Grow up. You know, because you don't know what kind of effect that could have, like, on you or on another person, like, later on down the road.
Exactly.
So, beg bitches. Because, you know, I guess for me, like, it's more important that you're more conscious of how you are responding to men or women, for all of our women listeners out there, how you guys are responding to one another, because it's very important that, you know what I'm saying, like, you're not putting somebody in a weird position, because people like Hector will bitch slap you.
And for all you Snapchat hoes out there, stop Snapchatting nudes to people.
Yeah.
That you are not carrying conversation with.
Yeah.
It's annoying. Like, I don't need to wake up to your nude in my Snapchat.
Yeah.
I don't even use Snapchat like that. Like, I don't even understand how people just send me snaps, but it's whatever.
I don't have Snapchat. I'm a
fucking
old
do
girl.
Snapchat. I just do that. I'm really just a Twitter and Instagram person, and I don't really be on Snap. I just really go on there to use the filter, and then I just transfer the filter right to Instagram or to Twitter. So I still don't understand how people, like, I don't post anything. So why are you even sending me stuff? Like, I'm not even gonna check it. Like, I'm gonna leave you on red, and it's gonna be that simple.
How is this? I really wonder how this culture has become so commonplace, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, how it's evolved over time. Because I think about, like, back in the day, like, there weren't those apps in order to do that kind of stuff. And now I'm just like...
They had Adam for Adam. Listen.
Oh, yeah, you're right. In BGC. That was the beginning.
Do you forget how messy those AOL chat rooms used to be?
I wasn't in them. That's you, boo.
Yeah, that was me. I was starting about early.
Right, I definitely had AOL, but I was not in nobody's chat room.
Those chat rooms were
I was in MSN, so that's, I guess, like...
That's the same shit.
Yeah, you know. Well, you know, I'm an old hoe, so it's just like, MSN was my jam. That's what we had.
Those AIM chats.
Lit. And Yahoo was the nastiest, if I'm not mistaken.
I didn't use Yahoo.
Oh, so I will just say from my experience.
Ooh, teach me.
Like, hold on. Teach me. I forgot what. Right.
These Yahoo chats.
Yahoo chats. Right.
So about these Yahoo chats.
So all I remember is, like, that was where I would see. I will kick it to you like this. I wasn't on AOL. I was on Yahoo, and the people that was on MySpace that was nasty would have the Yahoo instead of the AOL chats back in the day. So that was where all the freaks used to, like, congregate. From what I heard. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But no, the Yahoo chats was basically like where people they used to, like, you know, really hop on there and be like video chatting, you know, and camming and all that other kind of stuff. And I mean, like, that was normal. So I think that partially, I'm not saying that could, you know, account for everything, but I think that partially, like, that lifestyle growing up has kind of, like, manifested itself in such a bigger capacity nowadays, because it's just like there's so many other apps that you can use and so many other methods to get into contact with people. Like we said, Jack'd and Grindr and all, and Scruff and all of whatever the fuck is out there. Like, so that way people can come at you and be like, oh, like, I want to suck your dick or da-da-da-da. And that's an unwanted sexual advance too. Like, even just like that general statement, because I could be like, yo, bitch, like, who are you? Who are you? Do you want these hands? Like, or do you want to fight?
Did people forget how to greet? Like, I don't understand. Like, did people forget how to start a conversation? Like, hi, can I suck your dick? Isn't the beginning of a conversation?
Right.
Like, that should be like, slide that question in, like, after you at least get a nude or something. Like, just
something.
Why would you? Like, it's like 6 a.m. There's no hello. Just, can I suck your dick?
Or the environment, because, like, I'm not about to sit here and be like, you know, girl, there are bathhouses out there. I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. The more you know.
Wait, I heard that there's one, like, literally in the city, like, on, like, 30-something street. I feel like I've walked past it.
I'm not sure.
Oh, no, I'm lying. I think I heard that it's up the block from Boxers. like on
Which
that same
one?
block. It's like on 20th.
Mm.
I'll get back to you.
Right.
I'll keep it in the comments for you nasty.
Just in case. No, but I'm just like, there are places where you can go to get your nut and stuff like that and do what you gotta do.
Go to a sauna.
Or you can go
at the gym.
Or you can just go to the Cock, because you know the Cock after hours.
It's still open?
Is it still open?
Oh no, I think they moved. I think it's like next door or something. Okay, it probably is still open. I don't know.
Either way, I know that there are locations in which those things, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's okay.
Oh my God.
Or not okay, but like it's like you're gonna find somebody that's gonna be a little bit more open to that.
Because I heard that there's like I don't know the fucking name of it. I'll ask my friend because he's a nasty.
Mm-hmm. Hey nasties.
Right, hi nasty. No, he was telling me like there's like a bar where like there's like the bar area here and then like right behind it is like this screen and like people go back behind there and like do stuff.
I'm not sure. I was like, I've only ever.
I told you guys, I'm married to Christ, so I don't do these things.
So right,
I just go to the bars and get alcohol. That's about it.
That's about it. No, I feel you. Like I said, back in the day, that's what I knew was the Cock was the place where it was like you could. The top floor was like the bar and stuff like that, and then the bottom floor was like where everybody was just kind of like mulling around doing whatever. Mm-hmm. But I also think it's just like the space, the time, and just like even out on dates and stuff like that. Like if you are having
the invitation.
Yeah, exactly. Take that, write that down, put that in your notes, guys.
Space, time, and invitation.
Because that's what's going to save your ass in the future. You know what I'm saying? And I also feel like that just is respectable in general. And I don't know if because it's become so normalized and so commonplace. Like I can literally scroll on Twitter and see like porn and ass and you know whatever and the dick pics and whatnot. And I'm not saying that I don't follow some of the people that put those up like on purpose, but at the same time, it's just like it's just so much more normalize like this sexual culture,
liberation,
and there's nothing wrong with it. Don't get it twisted, but it's just like time and place, and just like who's comfortable with that.
I can't talk about that because I don't want to seem like a hypocrite because even though I've cleaned up my timeline a lot because I've definitely unfollowed people who just because I feel like again you see a picture of an attractive guy. He's semi-naked. Listen, if you want to post it, go ahead. Yeah. But when your timeline is literally just pick video, pick video, pick video, pick video, pick video, and then it's like, okay, fine, well, that's your timeline. But then it's also then you have the ones that will do that and then retweet the same damn video and pick all day long, and I'm like, kill me now. And I'd be over it. Yeah. And like I said, I'm human. My blood runs hot too. So sometimes I'll hit that like button like, oh, it's a nice picture. Yeah. Like but it's like, listen, at the end of the day, time and place, and give me a break.
Right, okay. I was about to say, that's why I'm so glad I got Snapchat, because it sounds like it's a little...
It's messy. It gets messy. People get blocked all the time.
That's why I'm just old and just stay on Twitter and Instagram and be like, this is my home.
Right?
This is where I live.
No, but I also have like, just kind of just to go, like, I guess, not go back, but just to kind of get into like the general sexual harassment things, like especially in the times we're living now, it's kind of like this surge of people who are coming out, and like I said, every voice should be heard and everyone should be sharing their stories, and I'm actually happy that we're in a place at least where people are facing consequences for their actions, but at the same time I just wonder, like, I don't wonder, but do maybe some situations, because some situations be taken out of context, and maybe if there was just a dialogue, could it end differently? Like, in the sense of, like, like, there's people who kind of reach a level of comfort in a work environment where you, like, you may say a little comment, or, like, you might say something, and let's say, for example, like, I was decorating a sweater yesterday at work for a holiday party coming up, and...
Yes, party, yes.
Right? So, and someone had made a comment, and to me, I found it funny, and I giggled at it, because in my mind, I took it so many different ways, but I don't, like, between the two people who were having the conversation, like, maybe she really just meant, like, because the comment was, oh, one coworker told the other one that she needed some balls. and they were talking about the balls that we were using to decorate the sweaters.
Right.
And in my mind, you know, I'm a child. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a child. I laugh at everything.
I mean, you said balls, and I was like,
exactly. So in my mind, I was giggling.
Right.
And the person laughed as well, and it was, you know, it was a funny moment. But it's like, if it would have been a different time and place, maybe this person could have been like, "Oh, I need some balls. I'm going to HR."
Yeah.
And it's kind of like maybe the person didn't even mean it that way. Maybe the person really was just meant saying like, "Hey, you need some more balls. Like, you need some more decoration." And you might have thought the person was trying to be funny.
Yeah.
You know. So again, it's kind of like, it's just, I feel like maybe some cases, certain situations, if you address it at that moment in time, there could be clarification, and maybe you wouldn't be 20 years down the line.
Yeah.
And now, because again, like, because one of the things that I actually, I'm not excusing him, but the interchange that happened was like with the Russell Simmons situation, with the girl who said, well, all these people are coming out, and she shared her experience, and it's, you know, and she's actually someone who had like prominent parents who, you know, Russell Simmons actually was like, I don't want to say, like, I don't know if they were friends, but I guess they were friendly with, like, I guess her family. And she shared her experience of what happened that night. And, you know, his response to her story, I feel, was very respectful and was very tactful, because, you know, to him, he said, you know, I don't remember it being that way, the way you recall it, but, you know, everyone's voice and you know, should be heard, and everyone should be able to share their story. And I feel that as a person who may be coming off as the aggressor, if someone does say, well, you know what, this happened, and this is how I view the situation, whether you viewed it the same way, maybe you didn't, in your mind, that's not how it went down. Don't disrespect that person. Don't make their views to be any less important than your own. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, if someone comes up to you and tells you, like, listen, you did this XYZ, and it made me feel uncomfortable, then now it's your job to apologize and kind of, I guess, do what you need to do. Like, give that person exactly. Like, do what you need to do for to give that person reparations for whatever, you know, whatever consequences your actions may have had on them. So, like I said, like, that to me, I found that to be, in light of everything that's going on with, you know, like, especially like with Roy Moore, who's been accused of, you know, being like a child predator, and it's always, I didn't, and then the evidence comes out, and then it's apology, instead of you denying it. Like, just be like, you know what? If that's how you felt, I apologize for making you feel this way. I didn't, you know, to me, it didn't, you know, so like, there's just ways to communicate.
Definitely.
So I feel like
that's the problem, though. People don't know how to communicate effectively.
That's very true.
One, and two, based off of maybe ways or just like situations that have happened prior where their communication wasn't necessarily heard the way that they wanted it to be heard, people would draw, and it's just like, this is, like I said, like, well, this is always going to happen to me. Why the fuck am I going to speak up? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, some people get pigeonholed into that space of being like, this is what it is going to be, and I don't really know how to fight back, because no one's ever really kind of just like stood up and been a warrior for them. You know what I'm saying? You know, because it's like, it's one thing to see it like in media or just like in different contexts, but like, it's different to have it like right in front of you, because someone that's like right in front of you, and that can like actually motivate you or just like really help you work through things because they've been through that experience, or they know someone that has been. It has a different effect on them. So it's like, I think a lot of times like people just don't know how to communicate like openly about those kind of things, because like, let's be real, like, I'm not about to sit here and say that shit is not awkward, but it is very awkward. But it's like also just like thinking about being a good human, thinking about being a good person, and thinking about just like the level of respect that you want to have for self. Make sure that you're, you know, sharing that with others, because it's just like, you never know what kind of situation you're putting someone in, and that's not fair
at all. And I feel like, you know, and I just feel like there should be protections in place in every single field, because I like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just, you know that these things do happen. Like, I mean, like, we don't live in a world that, you know, we can't be oblivious to the things, you know, to the things of the world. And you know that, especially, you know, with, I'm not going to say, like, especially with women, because, again, like, but in a sense, it does normally tend to happen to women more than it really does happen to men.
Right.
And it's kind of like, it's crazy that we're living in 2017, and there's really, like, you know, actresses don't really have a protection when it comes to industries, and then you have these people in power who are like literally are in charge of your career, and it's like, where do you go? Like, if I today went to a casting call, you know, let's say like let's say this whole situation we're happening right now, and I happen to walk into Harvey Weinstein's office, and who would I talk to?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing in, like, there's no safeguard in place, because if I like, there's people who have said it, like, you know, something happens, they speak up, and the next thing they've been blacklisted. They don't now they can't even do what they want, what they love. So there has to be a checks and balance.
And that's interesting because it's just like the people that are the bravest, they want to step forward, the ones that it seems like they end up falling on the sword in order to, you know, feel liberated. And there shouldn't ever be a situation where it's just like you living in your honesty, living in your truth takes away from your success. And I feel like this is the reason why, like, it literally has been like a domino effect. Like, I forget who the first person was that, like...
Donald Trump. Even though he's still president, so he hasn't faced his consequences.
Although, you know, with Flame coming out and about to expose all that shit, girl, it's about to be a shit show. And
a whole shit show.
I'm like...
I got the popcorn ready.
I know, like, I just find it crazy that it's just like the domino effect of how people are starting to kind of like own all these situations that have happened to them. I was on the train on the way here, and I was reading about Azalea Banks having the situation happen with whoever the guy was from the manager for Coldplay or something like that, and how like he used to like put her hands on her and stuff like that, and that's a different level of like physical, like that's physical abuse, which, you know what I'm saying, like that's a whole other different story in itself. Because it's just like sometimes those unwanted sexual advances, sometimes you get caught up in that, and then it's just like you don't know how to get yourself out of it, and you know what I'm saying. There are a lot of men and women that do endure those types of situations, and it's just like they don't have like those safe places to go or really know what they need to do in order who to go to. And it's just like I think about, you know, these celebrities, and it even happens like maybe I don't know how much in like the regular job world, like career world, but it's just like, you know, thinking about trying to gain status, you know what I mean? And what does it take in order for me to get to this level that I want to see myself at in order for me to be successful? And certain people will manipulate situations in order to be more pleasing to them. And that's a problem in itself, because it's just like, girl, like, you're a shitty person if you're trying to take advantage of somebody in a moment of them trying to like make like better themselves essentially, and you're using your power in order to basically make the situation more I guess like beneficial towards you, and that's an issue.
My whole thing is kind of like when people do go and have the conversations, or people say like, listen, this happened to me, this was my experience, and then they do get blacklisted. What does that even say about the industry that they're working in? Like, I don't know, like, why is that a reason to be blacklisted? Like, why is it that if I tell you, well, this movie producer touched me inappropriately, and or he, like, I was in my trailer, he walked in and tried to force himself on me, why can't I now do other movies? Like, why am I now, oh, she can't be in any movies? Why? Because is that supposed to be okay? Like, am I supposed to, like, in my mind, what makes you think that I should sit here and allow myself to be raped by someone that I'm not even attracted to? Like, I don't even want to be touched by in that way, but I have to sit here, let it happen to me so that I can progress in my field. What, like, how does that work? Like, if it were you, if it were your daughter, if it were your sister, if it were your mother, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it were your friend, like, would you want that for them? Like, would you want them to sit there and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna just lay here and be raped, and just so I can do movies for the next 10 years of my life?
That absolutely makes no sense whatsoever.
I was gonna say, like, that to me is what kind of gets me with all these recent situations. Kind of like, you see all these people who have literally established careers in these industries, and they're kind of like, well, if I don't get any work now, I don't care because I have a catalog that speaks for my career. But like, at the end of the day, though, why was that a step that needed to be taken? Like, why did you have to sit there, endure that, in order to have that legacy?
And then have to wait so long in order to be able to...
Like, why is that a price to pay?
Right. Because it's just like, I don't know. It makes me think about, like, how... I think this is, like, a turning point in just, like, society in general. About the level of openness that people should be having and the level of like vulnerability that people should be sharing, because it's just like a lot of people go through situations and nobody want to be owning up to it because of just like how you can be talked about, how you can be viewed, how you can be blacklisted, like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like this is really like a turning point in my mind of how people are going to be like approaching one another. Fingers crossed. Because the thing about it is just like you want to be more respectful, and I want us to kind of like transition to this level of like, you don't have to fuck just to get you know, far in life. Like, if that's your prerogative, then do that. Because, like, I'm not against, like, doing, like, if that's what you want to do, like, that's on you. I support whatever lifestyle you want to live.
Use what you got to get what you want.
Hello. And sometimes that be what it is. And if you're okay with using a little go ahead and do the damn thing. Like, I'm not hating whatsoever. But it's just about, like, when it affects you and you as, like, a person, like, that's when it becomes a problem to me, because that shit actually just it, like, rides on your shoulders for a very long time. And it's just like, bitches go through really traumatic experiences in those kind of situations, and they take years in order to get out of that, in order to be able to, like, have healthy relationships with, like, men or women or whoever they choose to date. And it's just like, just be more conscious of what you're doing, how you're coming off, and I think where you're putting yourself at, because it's just like, also, like, the spaces you put yourself in. I actually, no, I'm going to take that back, because no matter where the fuck you go, you should be fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. No matter where you go, you should be fine.
I've always said that. Doesn't matter where you go, doesn't matter how you dress, doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying, how you, like I said again, like, I can be the biggest slut in the world. That doesn't mean that it's okay for you to touch me inappropriately. Now, if I want to take my clothes off and have sex with you and have sex with 10 other people, that's my prerogative. But that doesn't make it okay for you to put your hands on me inappropriately, because you may not be one of the 10 people I want to fuck.
Okay. It makes me wonder, like, and this is just, like, a thought, it makes me wonder how, like, porn stars, especially gay male porn stars, like, how do they maneuver through life? I would really love to know, like, the inner workings of that, because it's just, like, you literally put your body, like, on display, you know what I'm saying, like, regularly. Now, everybody has a life.
What happens when you go out into public places? Like, like, how are you treated? Like, do they see you as a sex object, or do they actually see you as a human? And that's very important, because even with people, not only in the porn industry, but, like, even, like, I guess, like, exotic dancers, like, at the end of the day, like, once you clock out of work,
back to you, because that's a job.
And unfortunately, you would think that people would kind of, like, get it, like, okay, well, you know, you're not at work, you're not doing this, you know, I'm gonna treat you decently, let's put it that way. And I doubt it.
No.
Because I've seen it in action. Like, I've seen people who will literally go up to, and, like, it's just kind of like, no, like, you can still approach them nicely, you can still flirt. Like, you ain't gotta go up to them and grab their dick just because their dick was in your favorite porn video.
Right, exactly. Like, that doesn't make it okay.
Respect people's bodies.
Okay, and respect your own body, girl. Like, that's the other thing.
I don't even know where your hand's been.
Girl, did
you might give me a bacteria or something.
Right, like, girl, I don't want no infection. Keep that to yourself, honey boo-boo. But no, it just, I don't know. It makes me wonder where, I guess, like, things are going as far as unwanted sexual advances in, like, how vulnerable and how truthful we are, and how it affects us, and, like, where that takes us as far as, like, moving forward. Because I know, like, for me, like, personally, like, I've been in situations many a time, and it's affected how my relationships with men exist now, because I'm just like, no. But I think it's also because of just, like, people not understanding, like, their boundaries in the past, and I think it affects people, like, later on down the road, you know? And it's just, like, that's not fair. So it's just, like, be more conscious of how you're coming off to others, and also just, like, be conscious of just, like, you know, would you want that done to you on the other hand? Maybe you do, but you also didn't give the other person the opportunity to consent in that capacity. And that's where I take problem with that. Talk to your favorite bitch, okay?
Hello. And with that, we'll end the episode. And just, guys, like we said earlier, remember, touch me not. But no, I feel like touch me not. No,
I ain't saying all that. You can still touch. Just talk to me.
Right? Exactly. Like, effective communication is always key. I feel like effective communication is key to everything.
Yeah.
And again, just gauge the situation and just make sure that, you know, you guys are both equal participants in the touching. That's it.
That's all. And you know what? Because it's just like, everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, but most people like to be touched. It's just the way in which you go about doing such.
Exactly.
So be conscious of your touch. Okay. Okay.
So,
Bye.